the same time, can they work with some of the Tea Party winners in Congress to accomplish joint goals? Well, those are the questions we've been asking today, and here to help me answer those questions is Congressman Anthony Weiner from the 9th District of New York. Congressman Weiner, what do you think here? Is there some joint ground between not just Democrats and Republicans? That's been hard over the last 2 years, but with the new Tea Party guys that are coming in, whether it's on earmarks or Afghanistan?
Well, I don't really know. You know, part of the problem that many of them have is they came into Washington with a whole long list of things that they're against, and their affirmative agenda really does need to be filled out. You know, you saw it this weekend on Meet the Press with Jim DeMint kind of saying, I want to slash budgets but protect Social Security, and then he says, but I like Paul Ryan's plan, which would privatize Medicare. They're a conflicted bunch. They've succeeded politically in demonizing some of the things we Democrats have voted for, but they still have a long way to go to really explaining what they're in favor of.
How about the DeMint's, on the warpath against earmarks? Are you with him on that, or do you think there's value in the earmarks?
I'm open to a conversation about it, but we can't unilaterally disarm. Look, I don't think that there's anything divine about the executive branch deciding how to spend money in our districts. I'm open to a conversation about it, but again, this is a place that there's been some schizophrenia among these Tea Party candidates. They say they're going to fight for their districts, but they're not going to fight if it means bringing home programs that may help their constituents. Again, they have the benefit now of governing. Let's see how well they do that. We Democrats have the benefit of being able to say, okay, you're in charge, show us what it is you want to do. So far, there's been very little specificity.
When you say no unilateral disarmament, well, you talk my language. I like that, but how about within the caucus, the Democratic caucus, has there been a conversation about, hey, is there any common ground here? Can we reach out to them? Not in terms of what we've done in the last 2 years where you say, okay, well, what can I compromise away? No. I'm talking about where do they agree with you guys? Has that conversation happened yet?
Well, I don't know. When you have a party and a caucus, the Republican Party and the Republican caucus, who has defined themselves by how great they are at saying no to things, I wouldn't even know where to start. I don't know what it is they're in favor of. About 45 of their proposals were included in the health care bill. They voted no on health care. We put a middle-class tax cut, one of the biggest in American history, in the stimulus bill. They voted no on that. I have no idea what it is that these guys want. So a conversation about compromise has to at least start with someone sitting at the table, and so far there are no Republicans sitting there.
Congressman, how about the opposite end of this? Is there a way to, politically speaking, strategically, exploit the difference that we now see between, for example, Sarah Palin and Karl Rove, where they seem to be sniping at one another, the establishment of the Republican Party versus, I suppose, the populists? How do Democrats take advantage of that?
Well, I don't know about the rest of my colleagues, but I'm here in Washington to try to get things done for the American people. I'm not going to get in the middle of a fight between Karl Rove and Sarah Palin. I don't know enough one-syllable words to be involved in that discussion. But I can say this. We in the Democratic Party have to continue leaning forward, trying to help the president solve the problems of our country. We'll agree with the Republicans when we can, but we're going to fight with them when we must.
Well, that makes sense. But let me get specific on the issues. Afghanistan, let's say the Rand Paul wing comes to you and says, look, we got to get out of there. The military is talking about 2014. We're bleeding lives. We're bleeding money. Let's defund it. Are you guys open to that?
I think there are a lot of us who would agree with that even before Rand Paul came onto the scene.
Okay. And how about if any of them actually say, hey, you know what? Maybe we should hold the banks accountable. But as I said, I think, come on, is there any way they're actually going to do that? What do you think? Do you hold any hope?
I really don't. Look, I've said it before. These guys are a wholly owned subsidiary of the health insurance industry, of big business. These are the people that paid their bills to get them to Congress. They're going to want to do their bidding. Now, if this leopard changes its stripes or spots, whatever leopards have, then we'll see. But I just want you to understand that it's their imperative. Now that they're in charge and they've won these races and they say they're ready to govern, they've got to show us how they're going to do these contradictory things that they seem to be promising.
All right, one last question then, Congressman. What are the Democrats going to do in the next 2 years, in the House specifically, of course, where you are? Because since they are in charge, they have a huge majority now in the House. What do you guys do? Do you propose bills? And how do you have any hope of success?
Well, we'll see. A lot of what we're going to wind up doing is stopping their boneheaded ideas. They've talked about privatizing Social Security, turning Medicare into a voucher system. They want to scale back things like giving people insurance who have pre-existing conditions. I believe, I kind of consider myself from the fighting wing of the Democratic Party. I believe when they come after those democratic principles, we should hit them with so many rights they're begging for a left.
All right. Well, I'm happy to hear there is a fighting wing. So, all right. Thank you for joining us, Congressman.
When your fighting wing is led up by a 150-pound Jewish kid, you have some problems.
Well, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog, I believe.
I get the idea, exactly.
I got it at that. All right, Congressman Wiener, thank you for joining us.